What's up, guys? So what is happening right now? The market is up sometimes, the market is down sometimes, the market's left, right. We don't know what's happening because at the end of the day, the market does whatever the frick it wants. However, what we do know is there's a lot of industries right now that have been hit really hard since March. Industries that have been devastated since day one, like the airline industry. Because of all this, there's a lot of discounts on a lot of airline companies right now on the market. And today I'm going to go ahead and speak about my favorite stock to buy in the airline industry and honestly the soundest investment in my opinion, which is Air Canada. So, today I will be looking at four different aspects to actually analyze this company further to see if it's actually a good investment. The first one is why it's the best airline to invest in. The second is how risky it is. Will it go bankrupt? Three, can it survive past this pandemic? And I'll be playing devil's advocate here. And four, will I be buying this stock and when? So, I hope you guys enjoy this video. I've done a lot of research on this company, so I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. I started this channel during quarantine to talk to you guys about personal finance and entrepreneurship. I own two companies myself, and I would like to speak to you guys about my experience with money. Now, back to the freaking video. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start analyzing this company and see if it's a good investment. Before we do so, I'd like to go ahead and see what the stock price was at and how much of a hit it took. We can see here it's been at $52 for the 6-month stock price and then dropped all the way down to about $9. I know was the lowest for this company since the crisis. And then went around and under $20. I know it broke over $20 a bit, but then went right back down. The price right now is $18.50 since Friday. Okay, so why is it the best airline to invest in? Well, Air Canada is actually the largest airline carrier in Canada, which is a pretty big deal here. If ever there's a bailout, there's bailout money, they would probably be the first ones to get it. Also, they have a great CEO. His name is Calin Rovinescu, and I wanted to point out that he was actually named CEO of the Year and Strategist of the Year by the Globe. But the coolest thing about this is that this is the second time being named the best and top CEO in Canada, which is crazy. You always want to invest in companies that are being led correctly, okay? Also, another point to hype up Mr. Calin Rovinescu is that he foregone 100% of his salary. Him and Mr. Michael Russo, who's the Deputy Chief Executive Officer and Chief Financial Officer, you can see that right here. They have both agreed to forego 100% of their salary, which is, if you're an investor and you see that, that's crazy. Also, it's amazing that you can see all the lower employees that are losing their salaries through these hard times. You can also see that the higher executives are also taking a hit, and everybody's in it together. It's a great leadership points and a great initiative by them. This company is also a great investment because it's growing. It's every year it's growing. So it's been 4 years that it's been increasingly growing without any issues. So if we can go here and see on the balance sheet, you can see here that the assets have been growing every year. They've been growing for 4 years, and you can see the cash flow is also growing. So the net cash flow is actually also growing since 2016, which is a great sign. You always want to invest in companies that are always growing, not stagnated companies and not profitable companies. Moving forward, we can see over here that they're sitting on a lot of cash. So if we go to the balance sheet, you can see here they're sitting on about $5.89 billion, which is just a stupid amount, okay? But this amount is going to help them weather this storm. Because of the situation, they're burning money every day because they're not really flying anywhere. There's no passenger flights. There's only cargo flights, and this is going to take a huge hit on the total cash. It's going to decrease like crazy. But the cool thing about it is that they also have another $1 billion in untapped into line of credits. You can see that over here. The company is drawing down operating lines of credits of approximately $1 billion to provide additional liquidity. This is great news again, because if the company decides becomes insolvable or really needs cash, they have that line of credit to go ahead and tap into, which is great also. I also want to go ahead and speak about share buybacks because I freaking hate share buybacks. I think that the stupidest thing that companies can do. I think it's super selfish. I think they can be giving it to employees and giving them better salaries, but that's just my opinion. I went ahead and I drew up a little Excel sheet here to go ahead and explain to you guys the difference between Air Canada share buybacks and Delta share buybacks. So Delta is a U.S. company, but I want to show you guys the severity of share buybacks in the in the market, and how AC is doing it. Okay, so what numbers I have here is the net cash from operating and the stock repurchase. Okay, so you can see Delta actually went ahead and had a net cash from operating of $8.425 billion, which is a huge number. But they repurchased $2.027 billion in stock repurchases, which equates, I'm missing a zero here, sorry guys, but this equates to 24% of the net cash from operating of Delta that was literally devoted to stock repurchases, which is honestly stupid. Okay, you can see here Air Canada did have some stock repurchases. So basically, the net cash from operating was $5.712 billion, and their stock repurchase was actually only $373 million compared to the $2 billion of Delta, which brought them to 6.5% of the net cash from operating. So their stock repurchase was 6.5% of their net cash from operating, while Delta was 24% of their net cash from operating, which is just a crazy discrepancy, and it just shows that Air Canada is actually being led well and being managed pretty well. Now, the second most important question to ask yourself when you're investing in these companies, and what I mean by these companies is the airline companies, because whatever the way you want to look at it, they are burning a lot of cash every day with their operating expenses. And they are not making much money because there's a lot of travel bans right now with the crisis. And the question is, will it go bankrupt? Will Air Canada go bankrupt? And in my opinion, since it's the largest airline carrier and the flagship airline for Canada, I highly, highly doubt that the Canadian government is going to allow this company to go bankrupt. Another reason for that is this right here. The federal government in Canada actually put down a program called the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. And basically what this program is, I'll explain it quick, is the government is allowing all the distressed companies that have furloughed or let go of their employees to rehire them and use this program, which is the government paying their employees 70% of their salary, and the companies are actually only paying 30%. And in Air Canada's case here is they had let go 16,500 people, or furloughed 16,500 people that were not being paid from their 36,000 workforce. And basically what happened is, since this program has came out, Air Canada has actually decided to go ahead and take this and put it in place. And some people would say, wow, they're actually increasing their costs right now. They're increasing their operating expenses by 30%. That's crazy. And in my opinion, I look at it at the outside the box. And what I see here is basically a great strategic play by Air Canada. And what I mean by that is the Canadian government is putting in programs to help these companies. If these companies don't take these programs and use them, then why would they be able to ask for a bailout? I mean, the government is trying to help you and you're not using any of their help. You're just asking for a check. And this is a great play by Air Canada. It shows and portrays that they are a moral company, and it shows and puts them in an even better light in front of the government. So whenever they're going to bail them out, and whenever they have a bailout, they're going to bail Air Canada first. But whenever asking yourself the bankruptcy question, you should always play devil's advocate. And in my opinion, if this persists, this situation, this travel ban continues past June, we're going to have serious problems. We know that Air Canada's main business is passenger travel and not cargo. Right now, all they're doing is cargo. Well, with the travel bans, they can't really do any passenger revenue because nobody's leaving their house. Everybody's quarantined. Well, I found the results of operations for 2019, and you can see here total revenues, and their total revenues has been split by passenger, cargo, and other. And you can see here $17 billion of their $19 billion in revenue is literally only passenger flight. A small $717 million is their cargo revenue, which just shows how much of a hit this company is going to take. So they're going to be eating into their $5.889 billion cash reserve for sure. Just to put it in perspective, to show you guys how crazy this number is, I have a calculator here, and I'll show you guys 17,232. Let's add the right amount of zeros because it's a lot of zeros. Okay, $17,232 million. Divide that by the total revenue. It shows right here that 90% of their total revenue of last year, 2019, was derived only from passenger revenue, passenger flights, not cargo. So you're going to see a huge hit to their cash flow. You're going to see a huge hit to their cash reserves. It's going to be really bloody when the earning reports come in about 10 days. For us to go ahead and try to guess a time frame for when they're going to come back, it's pretty hard, but we do know that it might go past June. But at the same time, if they do, and the Air Canada starts having a hard time paying their bills and having a hard time following with operating expenses, I really believe that the government will not let them go under. They will continue to help this company, and if they need it, the government will go ahead and waive a huge check and bailout money to have them keep going. Now, will I be buying shares in Air Canada? And that's a definite yes. I really believe that they're led great. I think their CEO is doing a great job. I truly believe that they're using all the Canadian federal programs in the correct manner. It shows that they're trying. I believe that they're managing their stock repurchases really well. There's not a lot of stock purchases. They have $1 billion in untapped line of credit. They have $5.889 billion in cash to go ahead and help them through this crisis. Will I be buying now? No. I will be buying at the earnings report because I do think it will take a huge hit. I do think that in the earnings report, we can definitely see the impact of losing 90% of its revenue because of passenger revenue being completely banned for now. Is going to take a huge hit to the stock price. I do think also that they're gonna show that they've dug really deep into their cash reservoir of the $5.889 billion. So I do think this stock price has a way to go. I think it's still a good price, $18. I think I can get it around $15. I bought it at $15.50 in the past and sold at $20. I want to get back in really bad. So I will be waiting. I really appreciate you watching this video. Thank you. If you guys like this video, I'd really appreciate you guys smash the like button. And I'm going to try to go ahead and post one video a week. So if you want to subscribe for that, that will be awesome. Thank you for watching and happy investing.